Fact or fiction, folks in Southwest Florida are enjoying the literary life. We call this place paradise, and it turns out so do many top writers. In this week's show, we're exploring the lit scene. Beginning with Bibliophiles, there's no shortage of book clubs in these parts. Some are new additions, others have stood the test of time.
I'm under the impression that there is a book club in just about every community. Actually, we have the names of 90 book clubs.
Then a local author's debut novel is taking the literary world by storm. We'll dive into the Nix Big Thing. Plus, well-read and well-dressed, they go hand in hand at a Bonita boutique. I'm Amy Oshier. We'll also have tips from our reporters and the commentary from Brent Batten. I'm Amy Oshier. Thanks for joining us. The concept of a book club is not a novel idea, but these days it's trendy with a twist. The new spin is a widespread appeal. More men are signing up and speaking out about the books they read, and so are young adults, tweens, and kids. The love of literature is binding together bibliophiles from all across Southwest Florida.
I thought that The Paris Wife was by far the better book of the two.
I don't know about comparing them because I very much appreciated the details she went into in Paris and with Hemingway's First Wife.
Consider it a lesson in shelf awareness. A growing number of people in Southwest Florida are opening their minds and cracking the spines of a good book.
I'm under the impression that there is a book club in just about every community. Actually, we have the names of 90 book clubs.
Sandy volunteers with a nonprofit supporting local libraries and book clubs. She co-founded the Beachcomber Book Club in 2004 and has watched the popularity of reading groups soar.
And I know that there are other book clubs that specialize, say, in historical fiction, or we have a couple of couples book clubs registered with Friends of the Library where couples discuss back and forth.
With names like Happy Bookers, Loose Pages, Lunch Ladies, and Pages and Sages, bibliophiles meet up in person to discuss their chosen selection. If it's lively debate you're looking for, book club might be for you.
We rarely agree. We may all like the book, but we may like it for different reasons. And we all may hate the book, but we hate it for different reasons.
The most contested conversation often concerns picking the book.
The book we're reading now for September is called Fates and Furies. That's a book that, number one, I wouldn't have chosen myself. Number two, I would have started it and not finished because I think it has a weak beginning from my perspective. But by the end of the book, it's really a very good book.
Clubs generate a distinct personality. Some have a social side.
Like we did Circling the Sun, and so it was about Africa. So we had an African dish, African wine, and even some of the people wore African clothing. And we even invited our husbands, which was really nice.
Scratch the notion books are for nerds. Oprah has a trendy book club. So does Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg. And Twitter taps out its book choices in 140 characters. A final footnote, no clear conclusion on which is better, e-reader or Bobbi's preferred print edition.
If I remember something, I can go and flip back.
The buzz on his book started within days of its publication, with high-profile write-ups and shining reviews from major newspapers and critics. Naples author Nathan Hill is in the spotlight as the newest literary darling. He spoke to us about his debut novel, The Nix, now being hailed as the Nix Big Thing.
Nathan Hill is a Naples resident whose new book, The Nix, which published August 30th, is already on the New York Times bestseller list. He's done interviews with NPR and with the New York Times and other national media outlets. His book has gotten pretty good reviews from all over the country. We recently caught up with him at his Naples home. Check it out.
My book is called The Nix. It's N-I-X. I have to say that because people think it's the basketball team. It's totally not. At the heart of it, it's a mother-son story. It's a story about Samuel, who, when we meet him, is a sort of disgruntled English professor. It's the year 2011, and he has been missing his mom, who left the family suddenly when he was 11 years old. And then one day in 2011, he sees her again for the first time on the news throwing rocks at a presidential candidate. And so he resolves to try to figure out first of all, why she was doing that, but also what her big mystery is, why she left the family when he was a child. And this leads him into this whole other epic story that he never knew about his mom. So that's kind of the heart of the story, but you know, it's a big book and there are a lot of characters, so it's also about like video gaming and cell phone distraction and Norwegian ghosts and the protests in Chicago in 1968. Hopefully if people read it, that'll all make sense.
If you want to meet Nathan Hill, you can go to the Barnes & Noble at Waterside Shops in Naples and meet him where he's signing copies of his book. The event is at 7 p.m. on Monday, September 19th.
When you speak of Southwest Florida and the lit scene, it's worth noting that for some writers, our corner of the Sunshine State is the scene or backdrop for their books.
My latest book is Naples, Paradise Can Be Deadly, and it's a murder mystery.
My name is Jean Harrington, and I have also written murder mysteries. My latest one is The Design is Murder, and I'm happy to say this was a finalist in the Florida Book Awards of 2014. It's fabulous. It is fabulous. Everyone seems to want to come to Naples. It's beautiful. We have flowers, we have sunshine, we have Porsches, we even have beaches. Everybody loves Naples. It lends itself as a silent character to a book of this type.
Well, they say write what you know, and my hometown is Naples. So, and I have murder,
Really?
I have sex, and I have Naples. So there's a lot of Naples in it. And Naples is wonderful. I mean, both panorama and people. As you say, the beaches,
Yes,
Fifth Avenue. There's just so much. And the people are all tan and fit and wealthy. People love to read about the wealthy, and the wealthy love to read about themselves. So I think it's a perfect place to set a little murder.
I go into the zone. I write every morning, in my marvelous robe and my black coffee, and I write in longhand. And I don't really permit any distractions from that. I really think you can train your mind to do that. Your mind goes into that zone. This is my writing time, and that helps me.
I found it much easier to write my first novel down here because I had just left. I used to write a column for the New York Times, and I was so disciplined about writing that I came down and it was a job. Yeah. And I just stayed in my office and I got it done in 9 months, like having a child, I got it done. Now, a couple of years passed in between, and you really have to work on discipline because sunshine calls, social life calls, sports call, you know, tennis or whatever. So it is, I think, difficult to write down here with all that it offers.
Word is quite a few best-selling authors call Southwest Florida home, living here at least part-time. So who knows, you could have a muse living next door. A few other notables include Robin Cook, who wrote a long list of top-selling medical thrillers. His novel Coma was made into a feature film and TV series. Cook shares time between Boston and Naples. And crime fiction writer Randy Wayne White calls Pine Island home. He's known for the best-selling Doc Ford series of books. Another top author, Janet Ivanovich, had 17 consecutive Stephanie Plum mysteries debut at #1. She owns a home in Naples. Finally, the latest writer pick for Oprah Winfrey's book club also lives in Naples. Glenalyn Doyle Melton's personal memoir called Love Warrior is getting all sorts of critical acclaim. When we come back, a trip into our newsroom.
Imagine trying to hold on to a stack of these things every day. See what I mean?
Stay with us.
My name is Steve Unser, and cabinetry is my specialty. I have been creating custom designed cabinetry for 20 years in Southwest Florida, and now I am celebrating the grand opening of our new Naples showroom. Steve Unser Cabinetry will help you design your kitchen, bath, or home office with stunning results, offering the best quality of cabinets with a wide variety of design options and pricing to fit any budget. If your kitchen isn't becoming to you, you should be coming to us. Now, 2 locations to serve you.
Hiring the right moving company is important. Best Moving and Storage is a family-owned and operated business serving Southwest Florida for over 22 years. From our free in-home estimate until the last piece of furniture is in your new place or stored in our climate-controlled warehouse, we treat you like family. Best Moving and Storage is fully licensed and insured, with all of our employees being certified drivers and packers. When it comes to protecting your treasured belongings, choose a company that's experienced and trustworthy. Call Best Moving and Storage today at 239-592-6565.
Welcome to paradise. It's Tommy Bahama Month at Bears Furniture. Save 50% off all Tommy Bahama designs, Valley High, Ocean Club, Island Fusion, and more. Shop exclusive Tommy Bahama products available only at Bears. In stock, ready for immediate delivery. Save on luxurious upholstery. Your choice, just $19.97. Don't miss the lowest prices of the year. Guaranteed. Tommy Bahama Month. Final days. Only at Bears.
There's no shortage of the printed word showing up in our mailboxes. Mixed in with bills, notices, and catalogs, voters in Florida are being bombarded by ads. It moved Daily News columnist Brent Batten to the point of penning a commentary.
Have you noticed something different in your mailbox lately? I have. It's called space. There's actually room in my mailbox now that the primary election is over. It isn't stuffed every day with these campaign mailers. Look at this stack. This is just a fraction of what was sent out in the weeks before the August 30th primary 2 weeks ago. This year, it seems it was the year of the big mailer. Check out the size of this thing. If you don't like it as a mailer, it could double as a yard sign. Just stick a stick in it, put it in your yard, there you go, instant yard sign. I have to admit, some of these things are pretty funny. This one's got Senate candidate Matt Hudson as a train conductor. Here's one where he's a fancy king. This is one that has him as a dog dreaming of a steak. That seems like a bit of a stretch. I love the names that these groups sending the mailers give themselves. Working Together for Florida. Here's one from the Better Florida Fund, another big one. Floridians for Economic Opportunity. I guess We Hate Matt Hudson didn't test well in focus groups. This is one from Byron Donalds. It has a picture of the Gulf Coast all lit up. Not sure what that has to do with being a state representative, but it's a pretty picture, don't you think? Mailmen hate these things. They're all different sizes. They come on slick paper. They're heavy. They're hard to hold on to. Imagine trying to hold on to a stack of these things every day. See what I mean? Now that the primary is over, we get a reprieve from the campaign flyer season for a few weeks and some room in our mailbox for all the other bills, catalogs, and credit card offers that we've come to expect. But if you want to send someone a letter, do it quick. Another election is right around the corner, and the mailboxes we filled up again. I'm Brent Batten with the Naples Daily News. Thanks for watching.
Our team of reporters are deep in their own stories, but we have a preview of what they're uncovering on the beat.
Hi, I'm Alex Glorioso, the political reporter here at the Naples Daily News. Tomorrow, on Monday, Donald Trump will be visiting Southwest Florida. He's the first candidate to visit the area for a presidential general election since George W. Bush ran for his re-election in 2004. Look out for one of our stories. We'll be analyzing why his visit is happening and what it means for his campaign. Is he running up the numbers in a deep red area, or is that actually taking away from some of the other events that he could be doing?
Hi, I'm Greg Stanley with the Naples Daily News, and this week Collier County Commissioners updated their rules for Immokalee trailer parks for the first time in more than 10 years. It's a move that supporters say will help the trailer park owners replace some dilapidated and outdated trailers, make them more safe, make sure that they're up to fire codes, which the county hasn't been able to do in some time. But critics say that the new rules won't actually force the trailer park owners to make any of these changes. Instead, they're just giving them this permanent zoning compliance, pretty much allowing these trailer parks to stay as they are from now on for forever, as long as the parks want to keep them that way, without forcing them to make these upgrades. So it remains to be seen how the program is going to work, if the owners are indeed going to replace some of these poor quality trailers. But it's something we're going to be monitoring and following, and we'll be looking into all this week.
Hi, I'm Shelby Reynolds, features reporter with the Naples Daily News. I'm working on a story about a Naples couple who has teamed up with a very impoverished community in Colombia. They handcraft these woven, very colorful purses, and this couple is starting a business called Lula, and they ship them back here to Naples and sell them at trunk shows for friends and family, and they will also be at the Vanderbilt Farmers Market starting October 1st. You can find that story on naplesnews.com and in print on Monday.
This is June Fletcher, and I'm doing a story for this Sunday's paper on beach access. That is to say, beach access is becoming very limited. Our population is exploding throughout the region, and the number of parking spaces is increasing, and the number of beach access points, which is about a half a mile, between beach access points in both Lee and Collier counties on average. Some of those spaces are inaccessible. There are not enough parking spaces. Some of the lots are flooded. Some of the access places are overgrown. So this is going to become a bigger and bigger problem in the region.
A nice glass of wine is a perfect companion to a good book for many of us. And while we've offered lots of literary insights already, our Bibliophiles columnist Julie Glenn shares wine tips in our Help Yourself segment. Here's a new one when it comes to getting in shape. Julie Glenn tells us there's such a thing called wine tasting calisthenics. I'm not sure if I buy it, but I'm willing to try.
It kind of feels like a workout sometimes, and I'm obviously in wine shape.
In all seriously, it's got to do with tasting and the proper way of tasting your wine. So get us started.
Yep. Well, what you do is you get your wine, you pour it in a glass. Pouring wine, not very difficult. You don't want to pour too much. Then you twist it a little bit and try not to have it dribble all over the place. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're tasting, when you go to a restaurant, they'll put about that much. When it's me, it's going to be more. So usually at a wine tasting, you're supposed to have about 1 ounce, between 1 and 2 ounces per taste.
Especially
Usually
though,
one.
You're going to be tasting more than one.
If you're
so
going to be
that's
tasting
probably
a
why
bunch,
as well. They want to have less.
Yeah, and that's the last step is spitting. So I can't. I just can't. I'm not good at it. I have a funny story that I'll tell you later when we get to that step.
Okay.
But first, you swirl. Swirling is a little bit intimidating when you're wearing light-colored clothing and you have a dark red wine, because you just know you're going to slosh it all over yourself, and I've done it a number of times. So to avoid that, I keep the glass on the table and use the stem like that.
So you're supposed to get some height in it, not like
you're
a little
trying
flow?
to make like a. You're trying to create like a tornado.
Let me see. See if I can try it.
Like an aroma tornado. See, there you go. Get it going in a circle and then bring it to your nose, and that's the next step is sniffing.
I didn't see a tornado. I saw a lot of sloshing.
You don't see it. No, it's an aroma.
Yours goes down. You have definitely a whirlpool going.
And then you sniff it. When it's swirling like that, it just brings it up. Like there's a difference. And then, but when you're moving it, it's kind of moves up into.
Okay, so that's for smell. Swirling is for smell.
Yes, swirling is, well, to aerate it a little bit, but mainly to get a good sniff.
Okay.
Swirl, sniff, sip. Then you take a sip. First, but you've got to take your time. When you're tasting, you've got to really give each of these steps your due time, because you need to try to think in your mind, well, what am I smelling? What are the different aromas? What kind of flower? Is this an herbal? Different fruits. Sometimes you'll feel like this is like an orange blossom, and no, it's more like jasmine. Those are the things that people get into.
That's a lot of work, but I guess it pays off.
It makes it fun. It makes, and then you start playing guessing games with your friends, and like, oh, I'm getting licorice on the nose here, and you're like, wow, I didn't even notice that. Let me try. And then that's part of the thing.
I always hear people talking about oaky, whether it tastes oaky.
Yeah, well, they're having Chardonnay. Chardonnay tends to get the oak, but yeah, I don't smell any. You smell.
And I can't tell. It smells like wine to me.
You are correct. This is Cabernet Sauvignon from Lake County.
It could be church wine for all I know. It just smells like.
So then another thing they do, you'll see people do this at wine tastings. They'll take a sip and keep it in their mouth, and then they'll go and pass air over the wine. That is supposed to help access different aromatics into the back of the nose.
But it's not first date activity, though. I can tell you
because
that right
when you
now.
mess that up and you hit the wrong spot and you just sputter it all over somebody, it doesn't. It's not unclassy to slurp your wine when you're in a tasting scenario.
If people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If I was sitting there and you slurped it, I would think that way.
You'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? But anyway, so then you sip, and then you savor a little bit, and then you kind of identify the different, you know, qualities that you're getting in it, you know, dry, full body, different viscosity, how much it coats your mouth, and what kind of little memories it brings up in your mind. Like the other day, I had a wine that tasted like, not Twizzlers, but Nips, you know, the knockoff of Twizzlers?
No.
You know, the little red
I know
licorice?
Twizzlers, though.
Yeah, okay, well, there's a cheap version of it, and that's what this wine tasted like.
They probably wouldn't want to be equated with a cheap knockoff version of a Twizzler, though.
I didn't write about that wine because I don't like to say mean things.
Okay. So now you sip it. You're just taking a little sip. Are you slurping the sip? Or just
You take a little sip, enough to coat your tongue, really.
Okay.
Pretty much. So, yeah. That's it. Try not to get a wine mustache.
Now, if you were going all out, you would have sipped right then and then spit, right?
I would have, no, I wouldn't. Okay, here's why I don't spit. I did. I used to spit. But then I was at a wine tasting event where we tasted like a lot of wine, so I really had to spit. And I spit into a spit bucket, and I'm just not a gifted spitter because I don't generally do that.
Where's this going?
Well, I spit into it, and I hit, somehow the liquid hit the bucket, and it went right back up into my eyeball. And I look like Alice Cooper on one side for like the rest of the day.
I think you've sold us on that. So we can just
did
kind of
not
get
like-
by with the swirling and the smelling and the sipping and skip the spitting if you want. So
Well, I later learned that you can avoid that by carrying your own little red cup around and just kind of
good too.
discreetly spit in your own thing.
Very
It looks like
nice.
you're chewing tobacco, but
well, I'll give it a try.
yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Julie Glenn. Coming up, college bookstores getting a makeover, and so are the co-eds who shop there. That's ahead in Behind the Headlines.
I'm Jeffrey Heitman, NCH. This is my hospital.
I'm Shona Vella McCunney, and this is my hospital.
I'm Thomas Parent, and this is my hospital.
My name is Kenneth Bookman, NCH. This is my hospital.
NCH, this is my hospital.
Hi, I'm Adam Fisher with the Naples Daily News, and I don't just write about high school football, I live it.
What's up, Mr. Fisher? Don't worry about it.
Catch up on the latest in high school football with Andy Sodergren and me, Adam Fisher, each week at naplesnews.com/prepzone. We make high school football real.
A Bonita Springs boutique has a literary leaning. In fact, the business is inspired by books. It all started with these silk neckties designed by shop owner Robin Courier. She launched the line in New York City several years back. Each tie has a literary tie-in, derived from a character or book title. From there, the idea evolved into combining the love of books and fashion, creating the clothing boutique named Well Read.
Designs that are inspired by literature can have a fashion-forward look to them as well. So a lot of people really enjoy the idea that you can have something that's meaningful that you're wearing and explain to their friends who are also involved in book clubs and enjoy books and have like little secret meanings involved in the clothing that they're wearing. So you don't have to sacrifice fashion to have something that's literary inspired.
Well Read is located in the Promenade Shops in Bonita Springs. The store also hosts book readings and signings. Here's a new addition to the offerings being rolled out in college bookstores across the country. Alongside textbooks, shoppers can grab beauty buys. That concludes this week's show. Thank you for sharing your morning with us. You can see all of our episodes, past and present, by logging on to naplesnews.com. On the left-hand side, under a quick link, select Behind the Headlines. I'm Amy Oshier. See you back here next week.